Hey guys, welcome back in. In this lesson, we're going to talk about opening your probate conversation. And some of the principles that I'm going to teach you in opening your probate conversation are going to apply to other types of prospecting. So buckle in here and learn the openings here, and you'll be able to move the core principles over to really any type of lead that you're calling. But we're specifically talking about probate here. Opening is where you have your best success or your biggest failure. And every prospect that you talk to is going to react to you a little bit differently. Remember in the very first video, we talked about how some people are grieving. They have a lot going on. Some people don't need your services, but a lot do. A lot are going to need the type of services that we're providing, but they don't know it. Maybe they don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they have too much on their plate, too much going on in the process in their life, too much pain, too much grief, and they're going to reject you. So just because you found the perfect opening for you doesn't mean that you're never going to get rejected or shut down or hung up on. That's totally normal. But the perfect opening for you is going to allow you to convert 2, 3, 4 times more appointments than the wrong opening for you. But I want you guys to follow along with the openings that I'm going to give you and understand that that each one's going to be different. Each one's going to apply a little bit differently to the individual that you're talking to on the phone. But you're going to find the one or the two that seem to work for you the most. Now, it's very important as we do this that there's a few rules for going through your opening. So you guys are going to have multiple scripts that you can choose from. Rule number 1 for going through your opening is reading a script and following a script is just fine while you're practicing. It's not a great thing when you're live prospecting. It tends to limit you because you don't know what that person's going to say. And any little interruption that they do that's outside of what we've practiced really messes you up. So use the script for practice and then try to free flow once you're out of practice and once you're into real prospecting conversations. Principle number 2 is just because the script says it in a very specific way doesn't mean that that's the way that you need to follow. So the script might say something like, I hope you're having a good day today. And you might come out and say, hope it's a good day. Okay, just really simple example of how you do not need to or even want to read the script. It should change all the time. So you're really memorizing and internalizing the idea behind the line. Not the line itself, but the idea behind it so that you can deliver that in any way that kind of makes you feel good in the moment. Okay, so that's principle number 2. Principle number 3, and you're not going to notice these in the script, but sometimes you want to use what we call a pattern disruptor. And a pattern disruptor, remember, these are not in the script. A pattern disruptor is where you recognize that your prospects on the phone, many of them are using the exact same pattern to get rid of you, get you off of the phone. My pattern, when someone calls me to offer services, as a real estate agent, they call me to offer services. Maybe they want to sell me leads or sell me VA services or something like that. And my pattern is I always say, no, I'm on a team, and the team leader makes all those decisions. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I am the team leader. I just happen to leave that little part out, and everybody always lets me go. They go, oh, okay, I completely understand. Have a great day. And I use that every time because it's my pattern that I know is going to get rid of them. Your prospects have another pattern, and normally it's, no, I don't need anything. No, this is a bad time. No, I'm really busy. I'm stepping into an appointment. What do you want? How do you get my number? There's all kinds of different things that they may have found as their particular pattern to interrupt you and to throw whoever calls them, throw them off and really get them out of their normal conversation. So what a pattern disruptor does is it's kind of a question or a statement that you put into your opening that makes the person that the prospect you're talking to not think about their pattern, but they start thinking about something else. So an example of this, and this is an example that I really don't want you using right now because it can get you stuck. But an example would be, instead of, hey, is this a good time? To which they might say no, you might say, hey, is this a bad time? And they might say, no, it's not a bad time, because they want to say no. So you recognize the things that they want to say and you try to make them saying that a good thing. So is this a bad time? No, it's not a bad time. It means you can move on. So that's an example of a pattern disruptor. I don't love it, mainly because they might say yes. Gives them a really good opportunity to say yes. But let me give you a few other examples. Hey, my name is Bruce Hill. I'm with XYZ Probate Solutions. You don't happen to recognize my name, do you? So instead of thinking, how'd you get my number? They're going, do I know your name? Do I know your name? Maybe I do. Okay, so it just gets them thinking about that. The way you could do it as an ISA is say, hey, I'm calling from Bruce Hill's office at XYZ Probate Solutions. Do you remember speaking with Bruce before? They haven't spoken with me, but now instead of thinking, how'd you get my number? They're thinking, okay, did I talk to Bruce? It just gets them thinking about something else. Another example might be, hey, we sent you a letter last week regarding our probate help. I'm going to guess you probably haven't opened that. Okay, so now they're thinking, did I open the letter? So it just makes them think about something else instead of your interruption. So that's principle number 3. So let's go back and recap. Principle number 1, scripts are for practice only. You should free flow after you've practiced through your scripts. Principle number 2 is you should not go through your scripting verbatim. I want you to memorize the idea behind a particular line or a particular section of your opening and memorize the idea and deliver it in any way you want. Principle number 3 is you might want to use pattern disruptors. Maybe. I'm not putting them in the scripts mainly because I don't use pattern disruptors when I prospect any longer. If you're really confident on the phone, you don't need them, but you might want to pick 1 or 2 that work for you and your prospect and your clients. Okay. Principle number 4 is in the opening. We want to create a little bit of curiosity, and the way that we do that is we kind of tease the idea. We don't come out and say exactly everything that we do. We tease the idea of what we do, and we make them feel like we're not even 100% sure if it's really right for them. And if we've kind of teased it a little bit and we've made them think that we're more exploring the idea, then they want to explore that idea with us. So it might sound something like this. Hey, look, I'm not even 100% sure if I have the right John Smith. This is about the estate of Jane Doe. Is there any chance that I have the right number? And if I do, could I tell you why I'm calling? So we're kind of making it seem like, hey, I'm not even really sure if this is right for you. And if we are curious and not sure, then they're going to be curious and not sure, and usually let us move on. Okay. Principle number 5 is in your opening, sometimes it's okay to sound confused a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys some scripts in a little bit, and we'll get into the confusion sounding and how you read scripts and how you deliver the scripts in another video. But it's perfectly fine sometimes to sound confused. So I could call you and I could say, hey, this is Bruce Hill with XYZ Real Estate. I was looking for John Doe. Hi, John. Like I said, my name's Bruce. I work with Tom Smith over at XYZ Probate Real Estate, and I don't know if this is right for you. Are you involved with the estate of Jane Doe? Yeah? Okay, could I take a quick moment and tell you what I was calling for? So that's an example of how we would deliver confidently a script with no confusion in there. And sometimes people don't like that. Sometimes it's perfect for the person you're talking to. Sometimes it's perfect for you. What I like to do when I call is create that curiosity like we talked about in the last step, but I'll do it by sounding confused. So I might say, hey, my name's Bruce Hill. I'm with XYZ Real Estate, and I really don't know if I have the right person here. Is this Tom Smith by any chance? Okay, Tom, it took me a bit to find your number, and you might not even be the right Tom Smith. Are you the Tom Smith that has some involvement with the estate of Jane Doe? You are? You're the personal representative, right? Is that right? Okay, all right, Tom. So I really have no idea if this is even relevant to you. Maybe Do you think it would be okay if I took a really brief second and kind of told you what I was calling for? So I want you guys to recognize that that certainly lengthens the time of your opening, but I'm not sounding like a pushy salesperson. The other people that are calling them are trying to say, hey, you need me. I'm calling with that and I'm saying, hey, I don't even know if you need me. I don't even know if I have the right person. This is who I am. It really disarms the prospect. So you guys are going to be able to choose which style that you want to go for. Okay. Now, the very last principle that I want you guys using while you're going through your opening to the conversation is what I call a conversation gate. This is so important that I'm going to have another video talking about conversation gates. This is really important, and you may want to use this at multiple different times. And if you want to go a little deeper into why we use these and what they're all about, go to another video, probably the next video. But a conversation gate is really simple. It's simply ending one part of your call with a question. And the question that you're going to ask is really asking them for permission to go further. So if you still need to tell them what you're calling about, if you still need to describe your services, one of the worst things that you can do is immediately go to those services. Immediately go to the services. It's really bad because you've already taken 30, 40 seconds of their time, and now all of a sudden you just keep talking and they haven't had a chance to say anything. They're going to hang up. So this is where, before we move on into our presentation of services, our pitch, our USP that I mentioned in the previous video, we want to get their permission to go on a little bit further. So the way that I like to do this is it's conversation gate, and it's simply, hey, could I take a quick moment to tell you why I was calling? So that would be an example of the script or of the question that we ask. Again, remember, step number one, make it your own. You don't need to use the exact words that I just used, but once they've said yes, now you've just bought yourself an extra 15, 30, 45 seconds to tell them about the services that you're offering. And it's really powerful. So you want to use that conversation gate. So to recap, and I'm going to do my best to recap this, you want to use the script for practice only. Free flow after that. Number two is, even as you're using the script, memorize the idea behind the line, not the line itself, the idea behind it, so that you can deliver it in your own words, however it feels good to you at the moment. If I call 5 people in a row, I'm probably not going to use the same delivery any 2 times. I'm probably going to have a slightly different delivery each time, but it's always going to be using the same ideas. Number 3, and I can't even remember number 3. I apologize, guys. Use pattern disruptors if you're getting interrupted and shut down too often, but you don't have to use pattern disruptors. They're just a good thing to maybe use, especially if you're comfortable with pattern disruptors. And I'll give you a list of some of those that you could use, but I'd really like you guys coming up with your own too. Number 4 is create curiosity. So creating curiosity by potentially maybe even sounding a little bit confused. So you want to be curious and uncertain yourself, which is going to create some curiosity and uncertainty in them. Now, really important on step 4, really, 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 really important. You guys heard the way that I delivered it without the confusion, and that was good. Some of you are going to gravitate to doing it without the confusion, and you're not going to do it with the confusion. You're going to have to try both ways and see what works best for you, accent, your personality type, your voice, different things like that, and your prospect. You might be calling in New York City, where people are aggressive and confrontational, and the more confused you sound, the more annoyed they get. You might be calling in an area like Richmond, Virginia, where people are really nice and laid back. The more confused you are, the more likely they are to work with you. So the market, the area, the city you're calling in makes a difference as well. And then finally, step number 5 is use a conversation gate. And we're going to talk about the gate in a little bit more detail in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in a minute.